Playing on one of the toughest and most talented teams in the country, Jarace Walker has had some bumps in the road, but that hasn't kept him from making a big time impact and showing off the upside that made him a consensus lottery guy coming into the year. The season numbers won't wow you, but he's definitely made his presence felt, especially defensively. With all that being said, let's take that first look at what he's shown so far. Now, as expected, Jarace's defense has stuck out most in his game. He's shown himself to be one of the most versatile and disruptive defenders in the class, guarding multiple positions and actions at a legit 6'8", 240. He gives great effort, he's active and aware, and the ability to make a play both on and off the ball has been tremendous. He's done things like hard hedged and blitz pick and rolls and recovered, to seamlessly switching and sliding his feet against guards in one-on-one situations and really making life tough for more perimeter oriented players out on that island, to consistently reading and tagging the roll man as the low man, and coming up with some big steals or help side blocks at the rim that'll always catch your eye. He's shown himself to be a unique weapon, someone who can do it both inside and out at a high level, and it's helped take Houston, a program that's always going to bring it on this end, just to that next level.
The roll man out of that trap, and that just opens up the floor.
A steal. Sesser for Walker. Euro step in the right hand.
Winterly.
Nothing fancy here for North.
Nate Oates is going to go small in this game and try to spread out Houston to try to drive him. Walker with a steal.
Now, he is still a freshman and has looked a bit young at times, especially earlier in the year, which is natural from pretty much every freshman not named like Anthony Davis, but he's been getting better and better by the game. I don't know if he's the type of guy you stick on the Tatums and Lukas and other star wings. The foot speed and screen navigation might not quite be on that level to do that full time, we'll see, but the team defense and ground coverage is something I think we see shine early and often headed to the league. I think he's got some potential as a small ball 5, and this defensive versatility is his elite attribute overall.
17 the other night. Nice seal off inside.
Guard anybody on the floor, interchangeable parties. Here's Hicklin again. He's got those 4 threes.
Great to the players during summer school. For 8 weeks, it's almost entirely defense they work on.
As they take a 4-point lead under 5 to play in this first half.
Now, offensively, he's still very much finding his way as a player, and this Houston situation isn't anything like, say, G.G. Jackson's at South Carolina, but I still have liked a handful of things I've seen from him, especially as a playmaker. Because this is college, he's already drawn a decent amount of closeouts, which makes his job a lot easier. But in the league, he'll have to prove that shot is something to be respected, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But he's shown that he can attack closeouts, he's got a decent handle for his size, and he's been solidly aware of his reads as a passer, and plays in control to make decisions in numerous situations. He's done a good job of making plays off slipping or ghosting screens and making reads on the short roll, as well as finding guys in the middle or in the gaps of these zone defenses, or just making that extra pass and seeing certain rotations before they happen. He's been impressive to me, especially just in his processing time and ability to find where that open teammate is on the court quickly. Now, long term, he'll have to be a real threat as a scorer for this to work to his fullest potential and stand out in the future, but for now, at this level, he has the potential to be a real game changer. That Virginia game is the perfect example. It goes much differently if he's not out there making plays like he was, both being aggressive for his own shot and looking for his teammates against one of the best teams in the country on the road. It's under construction on offense, but I continue to like this playmaking part of his game.
Jarace Walker across court.
Now, getting into the going forward section, there's a lot about Jarace's game I think he's still figuring out, primarily offensively. Like we mentioned, there are certain confines that have him doing much different things than we saw flashes of as a senior at IMG, and he hasn't really been used a ton, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff I think he can do better right away. He's still been pretty passive in a lot of games this year, and you want to see him consistently take advantage of what's in front of him and use his strength and physicality to his fullest potential. He's loved to shoot that floater a bit too much, and while he is capable of it and I like it, I think at that size there's more than a few times where it just makes more sense to be more aggressive, trying to put it in the rim instead of settling for that shot and giving the defense a bit of an out. I also think he can improve his touch at the basket. He's currently at under 50% at the rim on non-dunks. There's been some gimmies that haven't gone his way so far, so I want to see where that goes throughout the season, and then related to all that, you want to see him get to the line more in the process. Now positively, I think he's done some impressive things in the dunker spot and as a cutter coming from the corner, and he is a very good and explosive athlete that puts that on display there and also in transition. And he's shown that he's confident enough to take a few turnarounds, and I think there's some real face-up or ISO potential in there, but I doubt we see too much of it this year. And if we're being honest, that was always a bit more of a long-term thing anyways. You just want to see more consistency, him finding a niche hopefully, and maybe him being used as a role man a bit more and trying to be a positive in any way that he can. He's currently shooting 40%, 8 for 20 from 3 on the year. It's been pretty low volume from deep, but when you look at where he was a year ago and especially where he was the year before that as a shooter, it's been impressive progress, mechanically taking that backwards lean out more and more and adding to the shot prep and showing a little bit more touch. I'm not fully decided on him in this area, but you can't ignore the improvements and how he's at least taken advantage in games like Virginia, Oregon, and St. Joseph's. To sum everything up, the rest of this season is an interesting evaluation with Jarace because he's not in the ideal role or team to really see or feel confident about what he is offensively at the next level, but at the same time you don't want him to become an idea in the way that Patrick Williams was and a few others in the last couple of drafts have become in the half court. But he does still have a lot of the pieces there.
Walker, that's a deep two.
Now playing in the American, there aren't a ton of matchups to look forward to in terms of other NBA talent at his position. However, UCF's Taylor Hendricks is a guy with similar measurables that play kind of that same position, and I'm really looking forward to that one. UCF will probably get smacked, and those two players specifically have very different roles, but that's two top 20-ish type of prospects going head to head, and those are definitely going to be some memorable ones. Memphis also has a pretty tough older team that should bring it, but that's about it, honestly. You can point to a few other teams with some really nice guards that maybe he gets switched out on and things like that, but nothing else really stands out. And if Houston takes care of business, the toughest part of their schedule has probably already passed before they go into tournament play.
The guy that's making our defense better is Jarace, though. I saw him do some things tonight that's going to really help us going forward. The great thing about this young man is how coachable he is. He tries to do everything you ask him to do.
Projection-wise, I think Jarace is easily part of that lottery group. Personally, I'd have him somewhere in that mid to late lottery section at the moment, but if he's putting on performances like he had against Virginia with more regularity and less of the St. Mary's and Oral Roberts and just some of that stuff that we were talking about before, I think he's going to be pretty difficult to pass up once we start getting into that 9, 10, 11, 12 range. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below what you think of Jarace Walker's game and what teams you would like to see him end up. As always, I'm Keandre, this is Intellect. Until next time, I'm out.